Okay, let's talk pitch decks. So, what is a movie pitch deck? Over the past few days, the subject of pitch decks has been coming up quite a lot in a lot of discussions that I've been having with people. I was teaching a class the other day, and the entire class was on how to pitch your project. So today, I wanted to go over what a pitch deck is and why you need it and who you need to make them for. So let's talk about what a pitch deck is. Movie pitch deck is a visually engaging presentation that outlines the main elements of your project for the purpose of presenting them to various stakeholders. Pitch deck will serve as a comprehensive overview of the film's concept, including its story, characters, themes, market potential actors, and so on. A well-crafted pitch deck will effectively communicate the creative vision and commercial viability of your movie using a combination of compelling visuals, concise text, data-driven insights, research, and so on. So the first one you're going to want to have is a creative pitch deck. The creative pitch deck is going to capture the artistic vision and emotional resonance of the director and of the movie. You're going to be highlighting significance of storytelling, mood boards, any concept art you might have, and any visual references, movie references, and so on that will convey the tone and style of the movie. You might even add information about the characters, the cinematography, as a way of conveying what kind of movie you are proposing and what kind of movie you are pitching. Now, who's the creative pitch deck going to go to? Well, in theory, the creative pitch deck can go to anybody. It shouldn't contain anything that would be deemed confidential. It shouldn't contain any numbers that are forward-thinking, like promises of returns, or even potential cast members. You don't want to be putting potential cast members in your creative pitch deck for the simple reason that if you aren't able to get those particular actors, it might be misleading. And it's also something where you don't always want to let people know which actors you're looking at, or you don't want that to be necessarily public knowledge, which actors you might be looking at or which cast members you may be looking at. Now, where that might change is once you've actually attached an actor to your movie project, then you might add them to the pitch deck because now there's someone who's been confirmed. So you only really want to be putting in information that is publicly available and publicly confirmed within the movie project. So that's what the creative pitch deck is for. Who's that going to be sent to? I mean, literally you could send that to anybody. You could put that in download to your email list. You might even have it as a slide deck on your web page, or you might just be sending that as a general first foray towards introducing the project to someone. So you might send an email to someone saying, hey, we have a movie project. Take a look at our creative pitch deck. Let us know if you want to talk any further. So the second kind of pitch deck that you're going to want to be creating is something called the investor pitch deck. And this one is maybe more like an investor deck. It could also be called a business plan. It's essentially a presentation that is geared towards people who are there to help finance the film, or people you're hoping to help finance the film. In this particular pitch deck, what you're going to want to do is put in more numbers. You're going to add your hopeful finance plan. You're going to add your plans for distribution. You're going to add their marketing plans and so on. Things that you would normally add into any kind of a business pitch deck where you want to show the investor what the potential for the film is, how you plan to achieve the results that you're projecting for the investor. The real purpose of this is to pitch the investor to back your film. So what you're going to do is outline the key elements such as project overview, market analysis, budget breakdowns, potential returns on investment. One key factor to remember when you're thinking about your pitch deck is that this should be a confidential document. You are only going to be sending this investor deck out to people who you genuinely believe have the potential to back your film. Because you are going to be putting out information about potential equity and so on, this needs to be a private document that is by invitation only. It should only be going out to people that you can legitimately send it to, accredited investors or potential accredited investors, and other people who have the financial wherewithal to back your film and who have expressed an interest in doing so. You should never send this out cold. This should always be sent out first after several phone calls or after several email back and forth to make sure the person you're sending it to is someone who is vetted before they're going to take a look at this document. And so you're always going to send it out with that idea that it is a confidential document. And understand that you're probably sending this to someone who is experienced in the world of investing or is a relatively successful person. They've seen lots of it. They probably have seen lots of business plans before and lots of pitch decks. And so you want to make sure that yours is competitive with them. So you don't want to be throwing in a whole bunch of flowery language or obsequious terms that could be confusing, because you want them to leave with the idea of, okay, I get it. I get what happens once I put money in. I get what happened, how the waterfall works. I get how all of those things happen. And if you need a primer on investor decks, or if you want to go into more depth, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a video on investor decks. All right, so the third kind of pitch deck you're going to want to have is a distributor pitch deck. So in the distributor pitch deck, you're going to pull out all of those returns on investment and investor details, shares and things like that. You're going to want to pull all of that out of there. Simple reason is that your distributor does not care about your deal with your private equity. They want to know, what's the movie, what's the plan for the movie, what's the production timeline, and any potential cast members that you are looking at. So this is probably the one document where you want to be putting in information about who you are thinking of for various cast roles, because that's something that a distributor is going to take a look at and go, okay, that's a person that we can get money for. That's a person that's a market we can sell to. You are going to want to put some information about the demographic you're shooting for, and you are going to want to make sure that the tone and genre and so on are very clear, because the distributor wants to take a look at this particular document and be able to say, I can get X for it. You do give some information about the budget, because what you want to do is make sure that the budget is going to match what the distributor believes that they can get for it. So if the distributor comes back to you and says, there's no way that I can get this kind of money for that kind of or the kind of monies that would cover your budget, because again, the distributor is looking for a project that they can bank, and that everybody that they can contribute to, or that they can get on board with, that has the ability to pull the rest of the financing in. They are going to want to know your finance plan. They're going to want to know your strategies for identifying potential target demographics. They also are going to want to know what you are thinking of in terms of marketing the movie yourself, and any partnerships or arrangements you've already got with people. If you have a cast attachment, this is a great place to put it in. So if you've talked to an actor already, this is a great place to be putting that information in. If you already have a director attached, again, same thing. What about the writer is important? Is the writer an experienced writer? Is the writer won awards? If it's based on an intellectual property, what is that intellectual property? Is it a book? Is it a life rights? And so on. And you want to have information about that in there as well. These are all the things that the distributor is looking for. Sellable intellectual property, things that they can take a look at right away and go, I know what I can get for that. And this distributor pitch deck is also going to be going to sales agents as well as distributors. This brings us to the fourth pitch deck, and this is a festival pitch deck, and this is more of a publicity pitch deck. So what you're going to want to do when you're creating this pitch deck is you're basically putting together all of the key art and behind the scenes photos. This is a pitch deck you're creating after the movie is already completed. This is going to be your publicity handbook that is going to be possibly distributed to people who go and see the film, or who want to see the film, as a way of promoting the film at the festival. You're going to be researching your suitable festivals in this that are aligned with the themes and genre of the film. You're going to want to craft a standout submission package, including compelling synopsis, trailer, so you'll want to have a link to your trailer on there, and also just start creating any promotional materials that go along with it. And this brings us to the fifth and sort of final one that is sort of like a no-brainer that you should also have as a pitch deck. And this is the one that you make for the cast and the crew. So this is one that you're going to use to give your cast and crew your potential cast and crew, a sense of what this movie is about and what their role in it is going to be. You're going to want to, again, provide a concise summary of the film's plot, themes, characters, emphasizing unique selling points, reasons why this film is going to be great to be involved in. You're going to want to put in information about the characters in the film. You're going to want to put in information about some proposed set design, any other concept photos that you might have for how you envision this film coming together. You're going to want to put some character profiles in there that are going to include their backgrounds, motivations, and so on, so that potential cast members can see what their role might be and what the relationships of their roles are to each other. You're going to want to put a director's vision in there that's going to communicate your artistic vision or your director's artistic vision for the film. And that's going to include stylistic choices, thematic elements, inspiring confidence and enthusiasm amongst potential crew members. You're going to want to put in production details, whatever you have available. So proposed filming locations that you might be shooting at, your shooting schedule, the production timeline, something that you can give to that you could just send to potential crew members so they know whether or not they can attach themselves to this, or whether or not they have the ability to attach themselves based on the timeline. And also, especially if you're going to go to some location that's going to be of interest, it might be something that a crew member might want to know. It's like, oh, I'm going to be going here for a week, or I'm going to be going here for a month. That would be good information to know. Maybe also some comments about what creative team is already on board. So you might put some short bios of who's on board the film already. Like if you've got your producer team on board, director, writer, other key creatives like your director of photography or your production designer, and so on. If you have a composer, you might put that in there too. Just anything that can either get people excited about the film to see who they're going to be working with. I emphasize in your cast pitch deck what the environment is going to be like some discussions about how collaborative the set will be, or what the supportive work environment will be. Making sure that everybody feels as though that if they take part in this film, that they're going to have a voice in how the movie comes to be. You could put some information about compensation and benefits if you really want to get into that kind of detail. Things like what rate scale you're going to be shooting at. In other words, like if you know that what the budget of the film is going to be. You might also consider putting in some information about compensation and benefits. What are you going to be offering to every crew member who comes there? What are their accommodations going to be like if they're going to be on the road? Maybe information about the city or the town that we're going to be going to, and so on. So this could be something, again, that is a great package to give to potential crew members so they can kind of see what they're getting into and hopefully get excited about being a part of the project. All right, that pretty much gets us to the end of the types of pitch decks, and I'm sure that there are other ones that you might want to consider putting together, but those are kind of the main essential ones you're going to want. Other than, making the pitch deck and designing the pitch deck, you can do that on Canva. You can go to ShotDeck to grab images that you might put, movie images that you might put into the pitch deck. Just make sure that it looks good. Make sure that it's got something that's going to grab people's attention. Remember that the purpose of any pitch deck, or the purpose of any conversation you're having about your film, is to get people to want to ask for more. So, your title, your cover, your key art on the cover is so important because it gets people to open and go to the second page. And the second page is important because it gets people to go to the third page, and so on. So your objective here is to get people to want to turn the page, and then when they get to the end, you're giving them, you want to make sure that in all your pitch decks, that at the end of the pitch deck, you have some kind of a thank you message for reading the pitch deck and a way for someone to contact you for more information. Thanks again. Any questions, don't hesitate to pop them in the comments. Send me a DM below if you'd like to see an example of the pitch deck that we've put together for the Quiet Canadians. My email address is below. You can send an email and we'll be sending that out. I'll be happy to share it with you and go through it. And if you want to go through it and compare it to your own pitch deck, happy to go through it with you anytime. Once again, thank you. This is Anthony, and I'll see you on Saturday. This is Maui. Maui is my co-producer. He often joins me for these videos, and he's incredibly happy to come up here and shoot a video with me.